Hey guys, Rodney Miller here, Hard Money Partner. We make loans to local real estate investors in the Oklahoma City and Tulsa metros. Actually, we go anywhere in Oklahoma. Been making a lot of loans in Lawton, done some Enid, Okemah, land loans, house flip loans, marijuana grow operation loans, whatever you can think of. So hit us up if you need a loan. Anyway, today I want to talk about something that I find fascinating. I do a lot of IRA investing into real estate, and so a lot of people don't know this. This is a secret. This is a trick that most people don't know about, and I'm going to teach it to you and enlighten you. Number one, self-directed IRA. What is it? This is pretty basic, but if you're in real estate, you should know this. You should have one. But self-directed IRA is an IRA that will let you invest in alternative assets like real estate, gold, silver, crypto. Most IRAs are controlled IRAs where they give you a certain, stocks, bonds, mutual funds you can invest in, and you're kind of stuck with that portfolio or that group of investments. A self-directed IRA is you just move your money over to an equity trust company or a Entrust, or there's many of them, and they allow you to invest in alternative stuff. So it's a crime if you are a real estate investor and you don't have a Roth or traditional self-directed IRA. You got to get one. I got one 15 years ago, and it's been the best thing I've ever done. You can do real estate transaction out of there. You can grow that sucker like, people are like, well, you can only put $6,000 a year into it. That's true, but you can grow it as fast as you can possibly grow it. You can grow it as fast as your mind can think of ways to grow it. So just be aware of that. You need one. So anyway, one misconception about IRAs, self-directed IRAs, is that you cannot use debt in your IRA. Like if you have a house that you want to buy for $100,000, your IRA buys it for $100,000, and it's got to be a cash deal because you can't have debt in your IRA. You can't finance stuff in your IRA. That's not exactly true. That's not true at all, actually. You can have debt in your IRA. There's certain rules and there's hoops you got to jump through, but it's very possible to have debt in your IRA. And when you think about it, leveraging debt is what makes real estate so phenomenal for building wealth. So if you're not using debt with your IRA, you're really taking the slow, get rich slow route to growing your IRA. You should leverage your IRA with debt. So there's a really good book out there I read years ago, and I'm going to share this with you. Here it is. Leverage your IRA. And this gives you the blueprint on how to use your IRA, leverage it with debt. So they go through the steps, and this is my competitor, by the way. These guys make loans. This is put out by the North American Savings Bank. They are, I don't know where they're located. They're in some other state. They're not in Oklahoma. Put out by Eric Wilkinstrom, CPA, Tom Anderson, and Edwin Kelly. These are smart guys, and they kind of walk you through the process of leveraging your IRA with debt. And the reason I'm telling you this is that I will help you leverage your IRA debt. If you have an IRA and you didn't think you could borrow against it, you can, and you can leverage that. So basic rules are you can take loans out and leverage real estate in your IRA, but the loans cannot be recourse. It has to be a non-recourse loan. And non-recourse loans means if you, for some reason, can't pay the bank back, the bank can take the house, but they can't go after you personally, or in this case, your IRA personally. So you can't go sue the IRA like a deficiency judgment. So that's basically the way it works. I'll read their definition. A non-recourse loan is one in which IRA account holder is not personally liable for repayment of the loan. The security instruments allow no recourse against the individual account holders or the balances of your IRA funds. In the event of default/foreclosure, the lender can only look to the property as the sole source of repayment. The non-recourse lender cannot pursue other assets owned by the account holder or the IRA. So that's basically a recourse, non-recourse. So let me just think of an example. I haven't really thought this through, haven't really mapped it out, but $100,000 house. Let's say that you have a $1 million IRA and you've got, 6, 7, 8, 10 houses in there. You paid cash for them and you're just getting rent checks coming in on your houses. You can actually go to those 6 or 10 houses or whatever, and you can pull out, you can borrow against them. Let's say you can do a 60% loan. That's all we do really for these kind of loans because it's non-recourse, so we have to be more careful. 50 or 60 cents on the dollar, say 50 cents on the dollar. So you got $1 million worth of real estate, you can pull out $500,000 and deploy it into more real estate deals, crypto, gold and silver, and you can actually leverage that to make the big returns. Does that make sense? So instead of just getting rich slow and waiting for those rent checks to come in month after month, year after year, you can pull out a good chunk of your equity, redeploy it in other deals. It's called velocity of capital. Really fire up your returns in your IRA. So the way we work is we will do most of our loans outside with non-recourse debt. I mean, non-IRA stuff, it's recourse. So if you don't pay us, we foreclose on you, and if we lose money, we can come after you for the balance. Pretty standard bank stuff, pretty standard lender stuff. What we do here is our typical loan to value is about 65% LTV. So we'll loan you 65% of the after repaired value, non-IRA deals, because that's recourse. For the more risky stuff, where we're not able to come after you personally, where we're not going to come after you personally, we're only basing our loans on the property itself. So we will go 50 cents on the dollar, sometimes 60 cents on the dollar. And if you can't pay us, we're just gonna get the property. We're gonna take it to foreclosure. If we get our money back, great. If we don't, we lose money. So that's why we cap at about 50, 60% loan to value. So the other part of this is UBIT tax. Most people think that in an IRA, when you invest in a Roth or a traditional IRA, there's no taxation until you start pulling the money out of retirement or before retirement or whatever. When you do deals like this, there's a tax called UBIT tax. You will pay tax on the gains on these things, and you probably think, oh, that's shit. And I'm gonna pay taxes on my IRA, but it's still worth it. And this book will break it down for you really well. You can take, let's say you have a $100,000 house, and at the end of the year, you made $10,000 in rent. That's your profit, okay? Well, then you get to take out all your expenses, and you get to take out all your depreciation and all that. That's your gain, okay? So let's just say your gain is $5,000 for the year. Now, you only have to pay UBIT tax on the percentage of that gain that is financed, okay? So you only finance 50% of that deal through your IRA. So that $5,000, you only have to pay taxes on half of that. So that cuts your tax liability in half. So now you're only going to pay tax on $2,500 of that gain. Does that make sense? So really the tax plays a small portion of the whole overall picture, but when you take into effect the fact that you can leverage your IRA, the little tax you're going to pay is not a big deal. So yeah, I hope this makes sense to you. You can leverage your IRA. I highly suggest, number one, if you don't have an IRA, self-directed, and you do real estate, get a freaking IRA and get it going right now. I mean, these things they explode. You can get really creative on how to make those returns just explode through IRAs. You can lend money. I lend a lot of money on my IRA. You can flip houses. You can wholesale deals. There's all kind of ways you can leverage your IRA and get the better returns and safer returns if you know what you're doing. I wouldn't tell you to do that if you really didn't. If you're new to real estate, wait until you know what you're doing in real estate. Then use your real estate expertise to leverage IRAs. Get this book, leverage your IRA. Go with these guys if you want. But I'm in state. I'm easier to work with, and I'll be faster. I guarantee you, and better than these guys. But just know this book is worth its weight in gold. Get this book and read it. It'll teach you a lot. They also have some pamphlets and stuff they'll send out with it. So hope this helps you. Hope you will consider me next time you need a real estate loan for your next fix and flip, marijuana grow operation, land deal. I'm here in Oklahoma, hard money partner. Thank everybody out there for last month. We had a great month. We made a lot of loans, and we're going way out of the state. Pretty soon we might be going to Texas. I don't know, but we're going to all parts of the state of Oklahoma. We don't mind going and traveling to look at these deals. Bring us all your deals. Let me look at them. Call me if you want to grab coffee, 405-204-1715. That's 405-204-1715. We don't have a loan application. We don't need financials. Everything is off the property. When you have a deal, you don't need to fill out an application. You call me, get me on the phone, 405-204-1715. We'll put in a spreadsheet. We'll send you a loan quote. The money will be there. Easy peasy. Times are getting tight. Banks are going to tighten up like 2008. Before you know it, banks will be gone. Start expanding your lending options and build your relationships with your hard money lenders and with your alternative financing sources. Okay, Rodney Miller, hard money partner. Thanks.